We on live, man. Ooh! Thought Tustin might have went to go to 4-1 in league. It did not happen. Let me go ahead and make sure. Let me check my other phone real quick. Let me check my other device to make sure that I'm on and everyone can hear me. Let me see. Let me do this. Let me make sure I'm on. Let me go ahead and do this. Let me go to my own channel on YouTube. Let me hit this. Let me see. Am I good? Let's see. Okay, I'm good. All right. So, man, I had issues with the game. Refs made a couple bad calls. I introduced myself to the refs, shook the refs' hands. Both refs were good refs, but they called a goaltend on one side, and then when the Tustin dude went for a layup, he pulled the net and made the rim shake, and then he missed the layup there, but they didn't call a goaltend. But that's, you know what? That's here or there. If you are new to my channel, man, like, share, subscribe. Hot Facts with Robert Reese, been doing it for a little bit over 3 years. With the help of Grindface TV, I have over 150 million views because they use 4 of my videos, and they paid me for using my videos. So I got paid off. But over 150 million views. I'm the official news channel of the gig economy. First Amendment audits, everything else that goes in there, that is what I do. Car accidents, wild animals, sports, WWE, I do everything. But I got to talk about this Tustin and Kennedy game. The last game was at Kennedy, and Coach Howell met me at the door. And let me tell you about Coach Howell. When my mom had a stroke when I was in high school, he said, "Reese, you're not playing today." I said, "Why, Coach?" He said, "Your mom just had a stroke. You're going home. You're going to the hospital." When I beat up that dude AR in front of the school, in front of Mike Beatty and Chris Johnson, Coach Howell was the coach that came to pull me into the room with the police officer that was Officer DeHaan's right-hand man. And I didn't go to jail because he said I'm not pressing charges because he pushed my sister down and got his ass whooped. So Coach Howell has always been, and let me give you this. Fresh out of 8th grade, I got my first dunk in the 8th grade. I got it at one hand at Lexington Junior High because I switched from my 8th grade year because I lived right across the street from Lexington. So I went to Lexington. So Cypress had my boy Devin, Patrick, Terrence and Clarence Moore. They had Thaddeus Lewis. They had who was the fast dude that ran the 100? He ran the 100, but he wasn't faster than me. Then they had Skippy who ran the 100. That was my nemesis. They had Chris on. They had Joe Pio. They had Jonathan who went and played over in the Philippines, and he's one of their greatest players there. And they had Matt Reed. Can't stand Matt Reed. I used to lock his ass up, but he used to go against these other schools and drop 30 points a game. So, going back to Kennedy, I was hoping I was going to see Mal or Ian Didn't see them, but I saw Coach Howell, saw Alvarez. Coach Howell met me at the door. He was like, I knew you were coming. Your brother already talked to me. I was like, damn. So Coach Howell, and it was crazy because Coach Howell brought me to tears, man. I had tears in my eye when I gave him a hug. Coach Howell was like older now, man. He's older now, and it's not the same Coach Howell that was like, well, let me show you how I can go in there and shoot. And he was going in there like Kevin McHale trying to shoot a jumper on you. It was like the grandpa Coach Howell went over there to Alvarez. Alvarez looked at me sideways. Was like, I know you. I said, yeah, you know me. We got into a fight in the gym. I forced Alvarez left because he could not go left. So I played him to go left all the way. He swung at me. I swung at him. We threw punches. And that was my coach the very next year. That's basketball, y'all. That's basketball. Much respect. When I went up to the Kennedy game, we gave each other a big old hug, man. And his brother was there. And we know that they roll together. We gave each other a big old hug. My brother was over there sitting on the other side. I'm sitting on this side. My wife is right behind me while I'm filming and stuff. My wife, Amelia. Kennedy won that game. So I'm like, I talked to the Tustin players themselves. Individually. They have a guard, number 4, that is super sick, but he extends his arms out too much and gets offensive fouls, but he makes all his shots. He's like their best player. When it comes to, he can dribble and he makes the plays. Everybody else, they go off of him. So I talked to all the players. They have a dude with dreads. All he tries to do is dunk. Don't make free throws. Don't make shots. Don't make threes. He kills them as a team. Just because people, now, my name is Coach Reese. I work with so many athletes individually to get them to get to the next level. Just because you have someone that's black, that has athleticism, that don't mean he can play the game. He kills you in all your games. And I don't care about what they say. I'm going live. A lot of the Tustin parents, a lot of the coaching staff, they are subscribed to my channel. All right. He shouldn't be in the game, man. You guys should have won way more games. You should have won way more games. Let me make sure my volume is still coming in because my headset just said something weird. Let me see. No, I might be all right. He should not be in the game. He took bad shots, he fouls, he does all that. And in the rematch, I knew that it was going to be a different game. I pull up to the gym, and I see the JV players walking out. The Kennedy JV players, they are hyped up. They are hyped up like, we good. I'm like, man, I went to Kennedy. When I said my brother went there and graduated in 96. I went from 96 to 2000. I said my sister went there from 2000 to 2004. They said, oh, you got your Kennedy? I said, yeah. The lady that took my money at the front, I said, Dylan is my son, and he plays for Tustin. She said, so this is an important game for you. I said, all the coaches know who he is. Everything else is going on. And it's real. I said, I just hate the fact that he's going against my school. And my assistant coach took over for my coach, and he's the head coach of his team. They had this big old black dude, looked like he made barbecue all day. He started smiling. He gave me a fist pump. I went into the game. They were like, you don't got to pay to get in the game. I was like, no, I support the program. Well, we're only going to charge you $10. So it was 15 at Tustin. So I paid the $10. I said, I support the program. I get in there and I got to make an apology. I was filming on this phone here. And when I set up the live stream on this phone here, so when the game was over, it had like 1,500 views for the game. And when I went on this phone, I accidentally hit the X and it deleted it. So if you go on YouTube right now, it's going to say that deleted my uploader and I cannot bring it back. I apologize to you guys so that if you didn't see the game, those who made comments on the video when it was there, Eric Aragon came in and we had to give him the treatment. Yo, you got boosted, you can play. Him and Jordan came in and we was like, oh yeah, Ryan Castaneda, I went to school with him, and if he just would have worked harder in the weight room, he would have been a beast. So the video's not there, and I'm so mad at that, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because my disagreement with Tustin they have 3 assistant coaches. They have 4. One don't talk or say nothing. He's like Filipino or something. He don't say nothing. The little short black dude with the afro that looked like he put Soul Glow in, he was telling me, oh, I need you to stand back. I said, well, I got to go up and down the court to film the game. I want you to go film in the bleachers. I said, no, I got to film going up and down the sideline. I filmed the national anthems and all this stuff. So I said, look, I'm going to step back this much. And he already had the space. He does not even go to the bench. He stands behind the bench. And when he goes up to when they're in their huddles, he don't say nothing or even put no input in. He wants to do it when it's a free throw. After I'm yelling out loud, box out, get your knees, get your ass down to their knees. Then he want to say something. So what was happening was the score was like, it was a close score. Kennedy was always up because I said, no, Alvarez is not doing it. I'm sitting there. The people at the scorers table, right? They keep turning back, listening to me like he's calling out what they're doing. Alvarez never changed nothing. Man, they run in the 2-2-1, have a hider back there, so it's a 2-1-2, but he's a DB. Make the ball go to the corner here. So when they think they can pass the ball, and Tustin did not put their biggest, most physical guy in the middle to fake the passes to make the zone shift, they were just stealing the ball. Then they get into the half-court situation. Alvarez starts off in that 2-3. He says, extend it. I said, man, that means that he's going to bring the other dude up. One dude comes up. Once they pass the ball to the corner side there, it's a box and one. Now you have a roamer. So once you pass the ball to go in there, he's going to steal the ball, and they're going to go the opposite way. I went up to the Tustin coach while I'm filming. I said, look, because I was like trying to get them to make an adjustment or at least listen to the verbiage that he's saying on the sideline. We don't need that. We need you to step back. I'm at my job. I'm a coach. I'm Coach Reese. I used to work with Jackie Slater. I rehabbed his knee. I used to work with Matthew. I helped Matthew at the Valleys on El Camino Real, whatever you want to say. I used to go to El Medina when Jackie was the athletic director there to teach their kids about high ankle sprains. I work with athletes to get them to the next level. You know that because I called the school, spoke to the highest up, then spoke to one of your coaches and figured out that your head coach don't teach there. He comes in just to do basketball. How do I know all this? I was going to go over your head and talk to the other black dude coach with the long hair, but I was like, nah, I'm going to just stay in my place. Hubert Davis quit. He's focused strictly on track. Me and his dad used to jump against each other with Clarence Moore at Cypress and everybody else, and Raymond and Chris and Deontay Holloway. We all jumped together. We all went to the Invitational and stuff. He was a stubborn man that did not want to tell his head coach, look, he said they're doing this. He said he's going to say extend it. And Alvarez kept saying, extend it. And his brother is sitting on the bench doing the hand signals. I'm like, oh, they about to kill them. The main thing was Alvarez was subbing 4 players at a time to where the announcer on Tustin's home court, he was like, they're sitting in the committee. He just stopped saying all their names because Alvarez figured out when O'Hearn was there and I was there with Alvarez and Chris Johnson, Ike Njoku, Derek Cunningham, Raymond McKnight, we have the athleticism to where we can actually maximize that press and dunks were happening in the basketball games. We had plays set up to where Alvarez was running the exact same play. There was a play on out of bounds that you throw to the opposite side. I would throw the ball that way, or whatever way we were on. I would throw the ball over there. Then I would have to come in. A screen was set up top. Then I would go set the screen for Chris Johnson. I would set the screen so hard that the dude could not move because we throwing the lob. They ran the exact same play, but instead of throwing the lob, the dude did a bounce pass to the guy down low. And I ain't never seen Kennedy have. It was a bunch of Asians and Middle Easterns to where the dude could not even pronounce their names. Ran the exact same plays, man. When the score was 22-20, that's when I went up to the coach to let him know. And he said, I'm at work. You're not at work because you're not trying to. I told him myself, he's been doing the same plays for 20-something years. I don't care about that. But you guys didn't make no adjustments. So that means you're a stubborn man and you're not a real coach, because a real coach will listen to someone who knows what they are running. It's all good. It's one game left. Hopefully they're going to play a playoff, but Dylan's going to do long jump, triple jump, and high jump, and you cannot control that because I'm a coach as well with that too. I already called the school and told them you must put him in this for Euro steps. So he ain't going to just be shooting and making 4 threes a game. I told him, making 4 threes a game ain't shit. Pump fake, make them jump. Do your step, get your Euro step, and now you can make the right pass to get your assist up or take it straight to the oven with it. But they don't want to understand. Well, at least that dude don't want to understand. So the game gets out of hand because Alvarez now starts calling extended every single time. And Tustin, they don't talk on defense. They don't say screen left, screen right. Hedge up, I got your back. They don't talk on defense at all. There's no talking on defense. So when I'm yelling out there saying talk on defense, the little Afro coach gets mad at me. But the other coaches give me a thumbs up. No talking on defense at all. So whenever the press break, Alvarez was putting that press on, and it's crazy because he took some of Loera's press back in the early 2000s and the late 90s. He took Loera's press and just added in and made a floater so it looks and disguises like a full court 2-2-1 to a 2-1-2, but the floater can go ahead and be a DB and intercept the passes. man, I was like, damn. So the score starts getting up. Kennedy starts throwing the ball to their number 4, their point guard dude. Whenever he hit a shot, the little Afro dude would say, yes, that's a lucky shot, man. That's a lucky shot. What about seeing what they're doing on defense and making the adjustment? So I was like, look, I'm going to just move over here. I'm not even going to go up and down the court and film. I'm going to just stay in one spot. So I did that. They never made no adjustments, no anything. My son had the flu. He started every single game. He had the flu. Like a day and a half ago, a couple of days ago, they put him in and he was not like he was bad. So he went to the locker room, put his pajamas on, and he wasn't able to go back in the game. Then, because it was senior night, they played most of their seniors the whole game when they were trying to win league. They went to 3-2 when they could have went to 4-1. I don't know who made that decision, but that was stupid. Let your seniors start, but if you let your seniors start and they get in there and they are doing some fire shit, let them keep playing. But if they keep playing how you don't got them in the game, this ain't little league to where they got to play. You sit them down and put the players in. There was a bunch of players on the sideline that wasn't in the game that should have been in the game. One of their dudes is real nice, 3-point shooter. I'm looking at him and I see what happened to him. I knew that he jammed and dislocated his finger a long time ago. I went to school for sports medicine and kinesiology and everything, but I'm not going to overstep my boundaries and go over there and tell him, look at what he's doing with his hand. It took them like 15, 16 minutes to see that he was hurt. Then they get another guy that got a concussion. I was like, man, he's concussed. I'm glad I went to school for my education. People get stuck in watching the games, but as a parent, you know, they say that you cannot get involved in the games, but when you're a coach and you're a trainer at the same time, it's kind of hard. But I have to let them figure out what they was going to do. They tape him up to put him in the game, and all he kept doing was this to his hand. He can't go back in the game. You go damage it more. Let him ice that thing up and wrap it all the way up. Wrap his whole hand all the way up so he cannot go back in the game. That's how that went there. So the second half comes in, and Alvarez says, F it. Their number 11 is like an Arabic dude, Middle Eastern, it might be Greek or something. He just started, when they was doing that press, he was sneaking down low to get easy layups in. They got a dude from Tustin, the dude that don't make no shots. He was like, I got to step with this dude. Let me try to dunk it. You don't got no boosties though. You know when you ain't got no boost, when you try to dunk the ball to snap the rim, that means you can't dunk the basketball. And you should only try it on a fast break all by yourself. If you can't go up and pretty it in and drop it in with your wrist, you can't dunk the basketball at all. You don't got no boosties. So he tries to dunk the ball when they were down by like 3 points. He could have laid it up, but he trusts his dunk over his shots, but he don't make no shots. The last game at Kennedy, he was 1 for 9 at the free throw line. Now, I don't know if he knows, but as a guard, at not even 6'2", and you can't make no free throws, you can't make no 3-point shots, and all you do is overly aggressively foul people, you're not going to get no looks, and no college wants you. I'm just keeping it way real. This ain't little leagues anymore, people. This ain't little leagues anymore. But because he's athletic, they do the shit. Now they have Taven Epps 5-star linebacker. It's 4.5 stars. Him and my little cousin Eli Johnson. Taven Epps played in the Naval All-American game. My cousin Eli played in both. And Eli knows who he is and everything. Eli's going to Ohio State. And Taven is going to, I got to look at my phone. Taven scored some points, but not utilizing himself as what he's supposed to do at being all that. He's graduating as a junior because everyone knows when you graduate as a junior, you're older than the other kids because your parents probably held you back so that you can play against younger kids. So he's graduating as a junior. He was involved in senior night. He did his thing for the most part, but he thinks he's a guard and he wants to rearrange his shot at the rim, not go up strong. In layup lines, he wants to go up like he's trying to dunk the ball, but he barely gets his fingertips over the rim with one hand or two hand. My boy Eric Aragon was on Facebook last night and he was like, man, our layup lines look way better. I said, Boosties. What's up? Boosties, we was out there putting it on. They got two players that try to dunk the basketball but don't make no dunks in the game. The crowd goes crazy for a missed dunk. You don't go crazy for a missed dunk. You got to dunk on somebody and make the dunk. That's what we used to do. So the score starts getting up, right? Kennedy goes up by 5. Then Tustin brings it back down by 3. Then Kennedy goes up by 7. It goes to 4. Kennedy goes up by 8. Then they're down by 2. When they're down by 2, it's like a minute and something left in the game. And they passing the ball to the dude with the dreads who can't make no shots. And Alvarez is he's subbing 4 players at a time to make sure the press and defense stays on them. I was so upset that other coach would not listen to what I was saying because there was no adjustments made. I ain't got nothing wrong with Tustin's head coach. You know, he's very short with me. Islander dude, tattoos here, but he's like 5'5". He don't know how the big men are supposed to talk on deep defense. He don't know about this and that. So he's the head coach. I don't go ahead and overstep my boundaries there, but he don't want to listen either. Dylan got 1 more year left. Hopefully they listen. After the game, Kennedy wins by 10. They brought the game down by 3, and they gave the ball to the wrong people when it should have went to take him down low, but he don't use his big body and his butt to get the ball, use your butt, back that dude up, turn, use the backboard, 2 hands up, and lay it up. He could average 24 a game easy like that. Easy like that. But they didn't do that. They kept giving it to the dude who ain't going to make no shots. And Alvarez is subbing in. Every 2.5 minutes, Alvarez is subbing in 4 players to keep everybody fresh. And the Tustin side did not take advantage of that and look and see what's going on. Now, they have some parents on their team who are parents of kids, right? And they get into some mischief. I'm not telling you mischief. One parent tried to go fight the other team at Foothill, the parents over there, because of fouls going on your kid. Worse than Jason Greer's mom. We know that Mrs. Greer will walk across the court. No, doing some opposite. I'm trying to help you win the game. Kennedy wins the game. I'll go over to Alvarez after they do their handshakes, you know, team goes and does their thing. I go over to Alvarez. I told him, good game, coach. He said, I heard you over. You were calling all of our plays out. He said, I'm surprised they didn't pick up on it. And I'm standing right behind Tustin's bench filming the game. The coach on the other side heard me calling out their plays. I said, stop passing the ball here. I kept saying, Taven, go to the middle, catch the ball. You got to fake to make the zone move. Once it moves, throw it back to number 4 because he's your best ball handler. Now they gonna start off in the 2-3. Y'all start doing a shell drill type thing. No screens to go in, no one flashing, no one trying to get to the middle of the zone to shoot that jumper. That's where you gotta put your big dude at. Make him flash the whole time to win. If they drop back, hand down, man down. Hit that 3 with number 4, swing it to Dill. But Dill was sick. Swing it to the light-skinned dude who looked like Chris. He looks like Chris's middle son who looked like Katie. He looks just like him. He can shoot the ball. Or swing it to the other Mexican dude on the other side. He can shoot the ball. If you don't do that, you're not going to win. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I went to a public high school, watched a public game, and I'm giving a public reaction to a game that I filmed in public that I am a public member and I was able to do. So I'm giving my insights, and I better not get no backlash for this because I'm a coach also, and y'all should have been listening to this. After the game, Alvarez's brother gave me a hug. I forget his name. He said, man, I miss those days with you guys dunking the basketball. He gave me a hug, everything else there. And when Tustin was finishing out, coming out their locker room, I said, Deal, how you feel? He was like, Dad, they put me in the game, and I told him, don't put me in the game until I call to be put in the game. He said, I got the game, and it felt like I was just like coughing nonstop, and I couldn't stop myself. Now, Dylan's one of my kids, and I had a heart condition in high school, well, growing up my whole life. And Dylan had tachycardia growing up his whole life. And when he gets sick, he gets sick. I have an immune deficiency also, like my son Trey that passed away, and I have a kidney disease. So when Dill gets sick, he gets sick. When Trey got sick, he got sick. My daughter Ava is perfectly fine. So once I saw Dylan only played 1 minute of the game, then he put his pajamas on. I was like, yeah, he's not going back in. I talked to one of their coaches who I spoke to when I called the school, you know, about some things. And I said, look, I apologize if I made the program look bad in any way. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, the little guy with the afro, when you guys were down by a little bit, I was trying to tell him what they are running and how they're disguising it. And he told me to, even though I was giving him like 10 feet of space, he told me to go to the bleachers. But I told him I got to film the game because that's what I do. I film the games. I said, well, I'll just move over here. And I explained to the other coach who I spoke to on the phone what I was trying to tell him. And he said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I said, but he never talked to you guys about that either. So you guys did not get any info in to make adjustments to win the game. The other basketball player says that guy is like, they say he's like a militant and all this other stuff. So nothing wrong against that, but You can't be a stubborn man when someone knows what they're running and they're trying to help you out so you can win the game or be competitive, because your team is way more physical, way more athletic than that team, and you should have ran them out the gym. Just like my dad used to say, if they not better than you physically and as fast as you just run them to death. That's why my dad got the records at Dominguez High School. That's why we grew up playing with Tayshawn and Ed and Charles and Bannon and all them. Capono coming up playing, and all these players coming up playing. That's why we played with all these people. My dad used to say, just run them out, just run them. If you guys are physically and faster, don't give them a chance. Layups all day. And if you got dudes that dunk the ball. Intimidate them. Tustin got dudes that can dunk a ball if they are by themselves. But they ain't got dudes that can dunk a ball if you can throw a lob, catch it, and dunk on him. Nah, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. My son got boosties and he could dunk the basketball with his right and his left hand. But he want to shoot threes. He be giving you like 4 threes a game, but you know. I told him he got to do triple jump, long jump, and high jump because we need them Euro steps in so you can make the right pass. And if you make the right pass, that's going to bring you assist up. It's all about going to school, getting that free education. That's what it's about. Game's over. I said, Deal, you all good? He said, yeah, I'm about to leave with my girlfriend and her mom. I said, all right. His girlfriend is his cheerleader. It's his cheerleader. So you know how the cheerleaders get assigned a player for after the game? His girlfriend is his cheerleader. So he left with her and her mom and went home. Did his thing, and he's sick. So they got one more game left. We gonna figure it out. But we focusing on track season now. Triple jump, long jump, and high jump. I was so upset that I looked in the on Taven Epps, the linebacker. They put in his thing that he high jumped 5'2". They put it there to say that he can also high jump 5'2". I don't want nobody saying I can only high jump 5'2". The girls on our team were high jumping 5'2" to 5'5" to 5'6", 5'7" if you were really good. I don't want them putting up, I'm a guy high jumping 5'2". That might hurt your chances, even though he's going, he's already committed. But you know what I'm saying? That's just not good for whoever put that inside his thing was dead wrong for that. They was dead wrong for that. They were dead wrong for that. So right now he's graduating this year. And he's gonna be all right, but I was just mad that they put that he high jump 5'2". I know he's 6'4" and 225, 230, but don't put he high jump 5'2". That's nothing. That's nothing. That's nothing right there. You don't do that. So he's going to do his thing. But that game was terrible. Shame on that little Afro coach for not paying attention and doing his thing. Y'all look out for my little cousin Eli Johnson. He's going to Ohio State, cornerback, 4-star from Texas. But let me tell you about Coach O. Coach O, man, that was a good memory. Coach O was a good memory. Coach O was a good memory. He said, I seen you on Facebook, you're married, you know, he gave respect to my son Trey. I was like, yeah, coach. Said, yeah. You know, it was good to see Coach O, and he was a younger coach that was there with us, who was able to relate with us. And he's been in the loop on us growing up and becoming men. And Emilia, oh, you back? Coach O, that was a great memory right there. We hugged for a long time. We hugged for a long time. And it's nice to know that people keep up with you. You know, when you say so sometimes, I wonder this and I wonder that. They doing the same thing. Coach O knew about my fan band. When I talk about Coach Hal to Coach O, I said, Coach Hal, damn near, you know, I had tears in my eyes because I was like, even telling my wife, I was like, Emilia, Coach Hal was the dude that, and I told her what Coach Hal did. I said, Coach Hal is old now. Coach Hal is old now. And Coach O said, time flies, huh? I said, yes, it does. Because looking at Coach O, and I mean O, like O, because Coach Olsen, Mitch Mad Dog Olsen is Coach O. That's Coach Olsen. Coach O is Coach O. Coach O looking like, you know what I'm saying? I said, you need to be in one of them Avenger movies. But he's like my oldest brother's age. And time flies. We all getting old. We are all getting old. Deal with it. But the moral of this story is, don't stop a coach from being a coach, and don't be too stubborn to listen to what they are saying so that you can understand and make adjustments to win the game. That's all I'm saying there. And I'm out.